Hello everyone, it is the me, GamePenguin21, and today we're going to be talking about Dreamcast Guy. Now, I'm not sure if I've ever talked about him, or at least not to the extent that I have talked about him in a full video, but in case I haven't, or in case any people needs a refresher, Dreamcast Guy is one of those very big-brained PlayStation fanboys that a lot of people tend to kind of talk about. Again, if I haven't talked about him, it's probably because I didn't find any video that was worthy of talking about him, or at least I didn't talk about him in the same sense. But in this context, I do have a couple of interesting videos for it. One that I'm going to probably be saving for like a rainy day just in case. But this one here is more interesting because it's more relevant to the current situation. That being that apparently PlayStation, or not PlayStation, but apparently Xbox is in panic mode because they're putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, which to, I guess, Dreamcast Guy and most of the mainstream media seems to be a surprise, which that makes no sense of why it should be a surprise, but whatever. With that being said, there is also like the Ghost of Tsushima port, which I might make a video on, unsure as of right now, but just know that PlayStation guys are also not upset, or also upset about that. So, yeah. With that being said, let's get started. But first, of course, we got to do a little bit of a shilling. Please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'm looking at 1K subscribers by the end of the year. If you want to support me in other ways, like my music and other stuff, the link's down to all of that in the description below. Please, thank you, and I appreciate you so much. With that being said, let's get into the video.
What's up, gamers? Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're talking about Xbox because a big new report was just released that Game Pass is making a final big gamble. They're going to put Call of Duty into Game Pass this year, and it seems like this is probably going to raise the price of the service. We're going to get a big price increase for Game Pass, but additionally, I think this is the final experiment. This is their test to see if they can actually make Game Pass profitable before they just give up on gaming altogether. But let's talk about that, and let's take a look at the report. Hi, I hope you're having a great day. If you could, give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Okay, so here we go. Wall Street Journal has just published a report talking about the fact that Microsoft is going to release the next Call of Duty, which is rumored to be Black Ops 6, on Game Pass, and they're going to announce it at the Xbox Showcase coming up in June. But if you actually consider this, this is a very tough sell. This is a move that I think is going to either work very well or more likely it's going to totally explode in Microsoft.
I love how extreme he is, at least in this intro bit, saying that, oh, this is them desperately trying to get people into it. They're 100% desperately doing this because they have to, or because they're super committal to it, or that this is going to 100% just brick them and they're going to just leave the gaming industry entirely. Look, Dreamcast Guy, Sony fanboys, people like that. This has been their plan probably the entire time once they were offered Activision Blizzard, basically on a silver platter by Activision Blizzard themselves, which a lot of people continuously forget about. But obviously, putting a big game in a system seller, a big game like Call of Duty onto a subscription service most likely will increase the price, though unsure. And a lot of people are kind of just speculating that as of right now. But also, I find it interesting how, again, most of these people just see that Microsoft putting a game onto Game Pass is going to just completely fucking kill it, apparently. Even though that's not the case, and you can still purchase this game outside of Game Pass, which a lot of people will tend to do. So,
Microsoft's face. Microsoft plans a major shakeup of its video game sales strategy by releasing the coming installment of Call of Duty to its subscription service instead of the long-time lucrative approach of selling a game a la carte. Now,
I love how when he reads that out, he very emphasizes the word lucrative, and one, doesn't completely highlight it, and two, how was it a major shakeup in this context if that's been their strategy this whole fucking time? I don't know.
For the most part, I think we can all acknowledge that Call of Duty is making billions and billions of dollars. The entire reason for the Activision Blizzard deal in the first place was clearly the fact that Xbox wanted Call of Duty. They wanted access to the biggest gaming franchise on the planet. I mean, not to be a Call of Duty hater. I mean, some of the games are good, but they're definitely extremely casual. There are people that go and buy Call of Duty every single year. They just go and spend their cash on it back to back to back. And that upfront sales, that just generates so much income, followed by microtransactions and skins and season passes and map packs. So the fact that they're trying to test removing that upfront pay, the fact that they're going to take something they just spent $70 billion on and put it out there essentially for free, I think this is, it is a move that I think they are going to instantly regret. Now,
well, look, that, how do you know? But also, more specifically, right? How is it that a person lowering the price of their game causes less sales, or like that they're going to regret it, i.e. they're not going to be making as much money, when in actuality they might be making more in the long term? Again, I can't speak specifically for it, but first of all, to talk about Call of Duty being casual, yes. Just fucking yes, obviously. Secondly, I love how when he's talking about Call of Duty, he brings up Assassin's Creed Valhalla instead, which is like the worst example of any sort of consistent game currently, I guess. I don't know why he just has that. It's just very weird. And, I mean, look, putting it out as an option onto Game Pass would probably help with a lot of the sales, because their sales have been kind of dwindling, at least somewhat. Like, I think the worst selling Call of Duty was this current one. I don't remember if it was specifically this current one that was the worst selling one, but there have been ones that like have sold very badly, like Call of Duty World War II and Call of Duty Vanguard. I don't think Vanguard sold poorly. I forget specifically the numbers. But to me, right, Call of Duty has been going down for a while, and putting it out into more storefronts and more places for people to buy it shouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But I think I'm going to skip through a little bit of a section here and skip to around 4 minutes just to get his next point into the light here. So we're not going to be missing too much. He's just going over a couple of points here, talking about how Game Pass will probably be updated to it, but we're going to need to get to his main point here.
A lot of people are just sort of laughing at this because it is bizarre that this is an announcement that seems almost a bit too late. Like, here's Paul Tassi, writer for Forbes, saying this: it was inevitable they do this. The question is whether it would happen this year or the next. They're way too down the rabbit hole, committed to Game Pass at this point to start making exceptions for first-party games, and this is one of the only remaining places that could drive new subs. People are, of course, all the replies are like, okay, Game Pass is about to be $25 a month. So yeah, this is going to be a two-pronged dumpster fire, because they're definitely going to increase the price of Game Pass. I don't think this is deniable at all, but additionally, I think that internally, companies have sales metrics. They go, okay, we spent $300 million on advertising, we spent $200 million on development, so it needs to sell at least 10 million copies to break even. So this thing, I'm going to call it right now. You can clip it. I'm filming this at 10 a.m. on May 17th. This is about to be the lowest selling Call of Duty of all time. Now, it's going to bump up some Game Pass numbers, which is kind of the point in a way. Game Pass is in a weird spot because I do think that people are beginning to miss the olden days. People are beginning to miss the Xbox 360 era or early PlayStation 4, where there was back-to-back good releases, but also there was always something to play. There was always something you could pick up for $50 or $60 or indie games for $20. And now, not only is everything $70, but a lot of stuff breaks broken, unfinished, with season passes, filled with DLC on day one, and people are starting to go, okay, well, what is this going to do in the long run? Is Game Pass good for gaming or bad for gaming?
I think that it's mostly good for gaming, though obviously stating out the problem, right, that the entirety of the game sucks, in the sense that most of the AAA gaming industries release games that are not worth the price of admission, is seemingly kind of a flip of the script from what some people, mainly in the Sony space, have been pushing for. Because, again, remember, Sony was one of the people to push for $70 games. They were one of the biggest people to push for that, and they kind of achieved it. So, overall, why are you complaining about them now? Why weren't you complaining about them when that sort of thing started? Why are you complaining about them now? And why is it that, again, since they're putting this as an option onto their subscription service, putting more value into it for seemingly a lot less money, why are you complaining about $70 games when you and the company that you shill for were kind of asking for $70 games? I'm not sure if you specifically were asking for it, but like, really?
Now, here's a good point. Currently, Game Pass is just a standard two-tier system, and we don't know what tier of Game Pass this is going to be. As it currently exists, there's the core, which is pretty much just multiplayer, and then $17 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, which is where you get access to typical Game Pass. So that's basically, this is how you get the hundreds and hundreds of games, plus new games on day one. I think this price is definitely going to go up. In fact, I even said that. I said, okay, so remember this tweet. Game price is about to go way high. I think they're going to increase it at least $4 or $5. People are like, oh, they're going to increase the price of PlayStation Plus. Okay, I don't know why this person is throwing that out. That's also stupid. PlayStation Plus, obviously, nobody should compare PlayStation Plus to Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass has a lot of good games. PlayStation Plus, whatever. I pay for premium, and I often regret it. But here's the thing. A lot of people...
Here's my biggest question, though. If they are having rumors about PlayStation Plus's price increase, and you're saying, oh, well, making the comparison is stupid, why? If it's basically the same service, or practically the same service, not like basically, but it's the same service, it offers a lot of the same service stuff to it, and yet you're saying that the price increase may happen because they're putting more games onto it to increase its value, right? But PlayStation is allegedly going to increase their prices as well without adding value to a thing that you already seem to not really like, because you say that you pay for it, but you might not like actually paying for PlayStation Plus. Why is it that when one adds games but hasn't said that they're going to increase the prices as of yet, but there is rumors for another price increase for PlayStation, which, by the way, they've already increased the price like 40 to 50% of the price that it was, and they still don't offer the exact same stuff that Xbox offers? Why is it that you're reporting on this one or talking about this one and criticizing Call of Duty coming to Game Pass as an option, yet not criticizing PlayStation for apparently having the audacity to increase the price for a service that is lesser in your eyes, by your own admission and your own words? Why are you saying that one, right, is weird because this is a big game and they should make as much money from it as possible, and then the other one has a system that is inferior, and they're still going to increase the price? Like, what the fuck?
We're talking about this because as good as this will be in the short term, I think it's going to lead to a lot of bad things all at once. This is truly going to go down in the record books of Xbox as a catastrophe in the long run. Like, maybe I'm being hyperbolic or overly bleak, but I mean, Xbox has made frequent sloppy mistakes. The whole thing with the Xbox One, telling people not to buy the Xbox One, forcing the Kinect, and trying to make stuff like originally when the Xbox One was about to come out, it did not have used games. I guess people kind of forget that today. And ever since then, they've kind of been trying to keep up. Microsoft is now so far behind on console sales. I did a video yesterday that they're actually down 5-1. For every one Xbox that sells, 5 PS5 sells, which is insane. And I think Game Pass, they are relying everything on this.
I don't necessarily think that that's the case, but at the same time, I don't put it past them to do that. And again, I love how he says, oh yeah, all of this stuff happened. And yeah, all of this stuff happened. And he's correct. Absolutely. 100%, I will at least agree to the fact that Microsoft freaking just annihilated themselves within the last console generation, because they were riding high with the 360. They thought that they could get away with a lot more, but they quickly learned that that's not what people wanted, and they smacked themselves right back down. And it just that generation was the reason why I switched over to my PC, and I've never looked back into the consoles since then. So, yeah.
If Microsoft can't figure out how to make Game Pass actually profitable, I think we're going to see the entire bubble pop. They're not going to keep spending hundreds of millions of dollars buying new games, buying new studios, paying to have good developers doing good work. I mean, if it's not lucrative, these companies exist to make a profit, and Game Pass is such a weird idea where, yes, on paper, hypothetically, it could work if you get
50 million subscribers, 100 million subscribers. Like, if enough people are paying you $10, $20 a month, it will pay off for those big projects. But if you're putting something like Call of Duty in, something that would give you instantly billions of dollars back, and just choosing not to accept that money, man, this is a very...
How is it a gamble to put, again, one of the biggest best-selling games of the last 5 to 10 years on a subscription service that can continuously make you more money in terms of market pull and just sheer value? How does that make any sense? How explain it to me like I'm a child. How putting the game day one on Game Pass with the current business model of what Call of Duty is weakens it. Because here's the deal. When a game is cheaper, when a game has a less upfront cost, you're actually more likely to put more money into that game. Example, most free-to-play games work off of this model, where the game itself is free, but if you want to buy something extra, you're going to have to spend money on it, obviously. And one of the games that I'll probably use as the best example for this, quote-unquote best example, is The Finals. Because The Finals is currently going through its Season 2. It's about halfway done with Season 2. And overall, I have been singing nothing but praises for this game. It is fantastic. It is beautiful. It is lovely. It is gameplay. It is tight. And yet, it is free to play. I have probably spent a lot of more money than I'm willing to admit on that game because it's free to play, but because I also love and support the game because it's a good fucking game. And because I like it. A lot of people spend the money on Call of Duty because they like the game and they want to support it. Obviously. So making that price cheaper to make people more incentivized or more likely, in this context, to buy cosmetics for your game or to buy DLC for your game, does that not sound like, the play at this point? Yeah.
Very interesting gamble. I don't think it's going to work out, but everybody right now, this is Charlie Intel. This is like a Call of Duty News Twitter account, and they said, with Xbox including Call of Duty to Game Pass, what do you think Microsoft does? Here, let's refresh this and make sure we get the full access to this poll. So, look at this. It currently has 5,000 votes in just the last 10 minutes, and it says here they're definitely going to increase the price of Game Pass, put it only on Game Pass Ultimate, increase store bundles, no changes. Yeah, I mean, of course, they're going to increase.
And all of this is based on a Twitter poll and a Twitter argument from someone who doesn't seem to be in any sort of way related to Microsoft. Well done. You cracked the code. You cracked the code. Overall, I think I'm going to tap out of this one. There's another, 5 minutes of now. There's another 3 minutes of this. And overall, Dreamcast guy is basically just trying to play Twitter armchair executive at this point, saying that, it's a desperate plea and a cry for help, saying that this is the last hurrah for Game Pass. Look, all right, Dreamcast guy, you're salty, you're upset. You have been talking about this whole thing nonstop since the Activision deal kind of went through. If you didn't see half of this stuff coming, you're kind of dumb. Of course that they were going to put Activision Blizzard games onto the Game Pass. Of course they were going to put Call of Duty onto Game Pass and stuff like that. And overall, people seem to forget that there was a lot more to the Activision deal than that as well. For example, King, one of the biggest mobile gaming people who made Candy Crush, yeah, that will probably help them make a lot of fucking money back from just the mobile ports of that. But everyone's been talking about Call of Duty and how that's going to kill the mainstream gaming industry, and because of Game Pass, everyone doesn't want to buy games anymore. Look, let me just put it this way. Let me put it very simply. Having the option to buy a game or to rent a game is not a bad thing. Options are never a bad thing. Having the option to do one thing over doing another thing will never, in my mind, be bad. All right? Unless it's a bad option, because then you can get into the whole thing there. And saying that, oh, Game Pass is a bad option, it's like, no, it's not. But, again, that's a whole other debate. And quite honestly, I'm out of clever for everything having to do with this video. Overall, this is going to take a lot to talk about, but in my mind, putting Call of Duty onto Game Pass is probably going to be a good decision, maybe, though unsure. But I've stopped caring about this, and I really should just make the video because I've been committing to 2 videos a week. But overall, that's all that I really have to say on it. Dreamcast guy, no. If you like what it is that I do, and again, want to support me in any way, shape, or form, links down to everything in the description below. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all that other good stuff. Bandcamp down to my music and stuff. Probably next month now I'm going to have to push back the release of the music because I keep forgetting to work on it. My bad, but probably early next month, or at least next month, I'll look into making another album release, so look out for that. In any case, thank you so much for watching. My name is GamePango21, Dreamcast guy. Keep on fucking dreaming and being a salty man-child, and a peace.
No filter.